Hello and welcome to this webinar. We're looking at AQA's Power and Conflict Poetry Anthology, and today we're focusing on the poem Remains by Simon Armitage. We're looking at how the form and structure are linked with key ideas and themes and issues. We're also looking at language, poetic devices and imagery, and considering the context of the poem. Now, it's really important to understand that Armitage is really drawing our attention to the split-second decision-making, as well as isolation and guilt in war. And these men, and it's told from a very personal first-person perspective, these men have to make decisions in an instant. The conversational and anecdotal tone really warms us to this as a real character, as a real voice in the poem. And it begins in the middle, in media res, on another occasion. And this constant use of enjambment, we were sent to tackle looters, and the repetition, possibly armed, probably not, really shows a character who's haunted by guilt because of the chaos, the split-second decision-making, the constant pressure of having to decide whether he's in danger as a soldier or if it's just an innocent civilian that he is killing in cold blood. Despite the chaos, each of the seven stanzas are in 4-line stanzas or quatrain. There's a real sense of order, and there's a final rhyming couplet. It gives us this sense that this soldier is struggling to maintain control, to gain some kind of power over his thought life, and yet he's failing. Now, the poet uses a wide range of imagery and poetic language, and the main focus really is to have a realistic and visceral feel. The colloquialisms like legged it and carted us, we have a convincing character. And because he's using slang or colloquialisms, he's not highly educated or highly sophisticated. And perhaps that creates and intensifies a sense of sympathy and pity for him. The determiner, this looter, highlights that as a soldier, he dehumanizes and perhaps even despises his victim. And the adverbs, possibly armed, probably not, suggest this ongoing struggle with guilt of whether or not he's attacked an unarmed civilian. A poker metaphor is used, 3 of a kind, and that's talking about the fact that as a unit, all 3 of them shot one man, but it's also alluding to this idea of risk-taking, because poker is that element of chance, and very much in warfare, there's that element of chance and risk. There's some very intense hyperbolic language in pain itself, the image of agony. And this concentrated poetic language really shows the man, the innocent, unarmed citizen, dying before his very eyes. And although it is poetic and intense, it doesn't lose the gruesome horror. There are numeral adjectives, 12 times, which perhaps is implying the excessive force that's used by the 3 combatants against the 1 looter. And the compound adjective and the military lexis shows that the pain has gone from being physical, someone else, to internal, his own despair and self-hatred. When he, in the final lines, talks about his bloody life in my bloody hands, it's that emphasis of guilt and remorse. The repetition and play on words and the swearing, if you like, is that intense feeling that he cannot escape the consequence of his actions. Now, finally, it's important to understand the context. This is set in 2 places, in Basra, in Iraq, and then in the UK, when the soldier, the voice, the character returns home. The poet is acknowledging that sometimes soldiers do not act heroically in battle. However, after interviewing many ex-servicemen who've survived conflict, Armitage seems to be exposing the fact that those who are suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress, because they've been exposed to horrific images, are not always equipped by the army to deal with the mental health issues that they face upon their return from battle. I hope that that's helped you to understand the poem a little bit more. Thank you for joining me.